In the world of country music, some love stories are practically legend. Johnny and June, Tim and Faith, Garth and Trishavies are the couples who are as famous as the songs they sing. But for decades, one of country's most private, profound, and let's be honest, unconventional love stories was hiding in plain sight. It's a story about a promise a young boy made and a destiny a man had to fulfill. This is the story of Marty Stuart and Connie Smith. For years, the love story of Marty Stuart and Connie Smith has been one of country music's most cherished tales. But what if the story you know is only half the truth? At 66, Marty Stuart is finally opening up about the private struggles, the whispered secrets, and the childhood promise that took a quarter century to come true. This is the real story of the vow an 11-year-old boy made, and the country legend who had no idea she was his destiny. What he's revealing now about that promise, a secret they kept during the hardest years, and a love that defied all logic will change how you see both of these legends forever. Our story starts not under the bright lights of the Grand Ole Opry, but in the humid, pine-scented air of Philadelphia, Mississippi. Back in the summer of 1970, that's where we meet a young John Marty Stuart. Born in 1958, by the age of 11, he was already a musical prodigy with an old soul, playing guitar and mandolin so well he was touring with a gospel group. Music wasn't just a hobby for him, it was the language he spoke, and in his world, few stars shone brighter than Connie Smith. By 1970, she was a titan of the industry. Her debut single from 1964, Once a Day, had spent a staggering 8 weeks at #1, a record for a female country artist that stood for nearly 50 years. She was an Opry member, a Grammy nominee, and the voice pouring out of radios across America. But in the Stuart house, she was something more. Connie Smith was, without a doubt, his mother Hilda's favorite singer. Marty remembered an RCA Victor record they owned, Miss Smith Goes to Nashville, with her portrait on the cover. He'd prop it on the stereo, walk by it, and think, man, she's really pretty. But it was more than a childhood crush. He heard something powerful in her voice, something that went beyond just being pretty. It was a sound that was pure, authentic, and carried a weight an 11-year-old boy might not have been able to explain, but could feel deep down. It was the sound of truth. So, when the news came that Connie Smith was set to perform at the Choctaw Indian Fair in their hometown, the Stuart house was buzzing. For young Marty, this wasn't just a concert, it was a mission. He was so determined to get noticed that he told his mom, "You have to take me to buy a yellow shirt so Connie Smith will see me." Hilda obliged, and they went to the local department store to get the shirt he hoped would make him stand out. When the day of the show came, Marty, his mom, and his sister made their way to the high school football field where the concert was held. The moment Connie Smith walked on stage, everything changed for Marty Stuart. After the show, he and his sister got a picture with her, and he soaked in every detail. But that wasn't enough. As they were leaving, Marty saw Connie sitting in a car. He borrowed his mom's camera, ran over, and with all the confidence an 11-year-old in a bright yellow shirt could find, he asked, "Miss Smith, can I take your photograph?" She said sure. He put the lens right up to her face and clicked the shutter. It was the first photograph he ever remembers taking. For Connie, a star, 17 years, his senior, it was just another sweet, funny moment with a young fan. But for Marty, it was a moment of life-altering clarity. On the car ride home, he turned to his mother Hilda and made a declaration that was as bold as it was impossible. With all the certainty in his young heart, he said, "I'm going to marry Connie Smith someday." His family laughed it off as a childhood fantasy. But for Marty, it wasn't a joke. It was a promise he made to himself. A vow whispered into the Mississippi night that would lie in wait for 25 years. While Marty held on to his childhood vow, life moved on. The two stars, one established and one on the rise, set off on journeys that would take them through the highest highs and lowest lows of the country music world. Seemingly a universe apart, Connie Smith's journey was one of immense talent shadowed by personal struggle. She had the voice, the fame, and the hits. But the life of a star was a lonely, spiritually draining place. She continued to tour and record through the 70s, but she was also navigating a complicated personal life. She had been married and divorced twice before Marty even met her, and her third marriage would last into the early 90s, giving her 3 daughters. The pressure of being a pioneering woman in a man's world, combined with her deep Christian faith, created a chasm that became too wide. So, Connie Smith made a choice. She stepped away from the spotlight to focus on raising her 5 children and deepening her relationship with God. After her third marriage ended, she declared she would never marry again, guarding a heart that had seen too much turmoil. Meanwhile, as Connie was retreating, Marty Stuart was exploding onto the scene. Just a year after meeting her, he was playing mandolin professionally. At 13, he joined bluegrass legend Lester Flatt's band, leaving home to live on a tour bus. His teenage years were spent learning from the masters on the Opry stage. In 1980, he got another life-changing call. He joined Johnny Cash's band. For years, he was part of the Man in Black's iconic show, an education in artistry and survival. During this time, he married Johnny's daughter, Cindy Cash, in 1983, a marriage that ended in 1988. By the mid-80s, Marty was a solo star. With his hillbilly rock sound and flamboyant style, hits like Tempted, Burn Me Down, and the Travis Tritt duet, The Whiskey Ain't Workin', made him a household name. He was a Grammy winner, an Opry member, and a bona fide superstar. But like Connie, his life wasn't without its shadows. The pressures of fame took their toll, and he was living the fast-paced life of a modern celebrity. For 25 years, their lives ran on parallel tracks that seemed destined never to cross. The 17-year age gap, which seemed huge when he was 11, still felt like a major divide, but fate, and Marty Stuart's persistent heart, had other plans. By the mid-1990s, the world had changed for both of them. Marty was now a respected veteran artist, and Connie was thinking about making a new record on her own terms. She needed a producer who understood her, someone who revered the classic Nashville sound. The name that came up was Marty Stuart, officially reconnected in a professional capacity, with Marty set to produce and co-write her next album. The hours they spent writing songs together became the ground where a 25-year-old promise began to grow into something real. As they crafted songs, they discovered a chemistry that went far beyond music, built on a shared love for true country music and a deep, abiding faith. For Marty, it was a moment of reckoning. The feelings he'd had as a boy came rushing back, but now they were the deep, stirring emotions of a man falling in love. He said of the experience, "We started writing songs, and here comes these love songs, and hearing Connie Smith sing them was like, oh my God, my heart started flipping out, and I couldn't believe it, but it was terrifying." He was falling for his childhood idol, a woman 17 years his senior who had sworn off marriage. He was so conflicted he actually wrote down a list of pros and cons, which he said just looked ridiculous on paper. Lost, he went to his greatest consultant, his mom. He laid it all out for Hilda, his feelings, the age gap, her reluctance. "Mama, what do I do?" he asked, with the simple wisdom only a mother has. She told him, well, 5 minutes of the right thing's a whole lot better than 50 years of the wrong thing. That was all he needed to hear. The moment of truth didn't happen backstage at the Opry, but in a grocery store parking lot. It was there that Marty Stuart, armed with his mother's advice, finally confessed his feelings to Connie Smith and kissed her. That kiss sealed a promise made 25 years earlier. From that day on, their romance blossomed. On July 8, 1997, on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, Marty's childhood dream came true. They were married in a traditional Lakota ceremony, a quiet, spiritual event that honored their shared values. Marty would later call it the greatest event of his life, writing that God put on a silent lightning storm for them that night. A light show that was beyond words. The boy from Mississippi saw his vow fulfilled under an electric sky. Their marriage in 1997 wasn't an ending, but the beginning of a partnership that has become one of the most admired in country music, now spanning nearly 3 decades. So what's their secret? It seems to be a combination of faith, respect, and a set of principles they live by. You could call it the Stuart and Smith doctrine. The absolute cornerstone is their shared Christian faith. Connie's advice for a lasting marriage is simple: make the Lord the center, and commit. Another key is separating their public personas from their private life. Marty famously put it bluntly: leave the star st at the gate. They prioritize real conversation by making a conscious choice to unplug from the world and plug into each other. Their relationship is also a beautiful example of mutual growth. At 66, Marty openly credits Connie with teaching him the vital lesson of balance. He admits, "With Connie, I have learned about balancing love and music. She puts a whole lot more emphasis on family life than I ever did, and she's been a great sense of balance to me." She didn't just become his wife, she became his anchor. That this partnership extends to their creative lives, too. Marty has produced several of Connie's albums, and they've written dozens of songs together. Connie's 2024 album, Love, Prison, Wisdom, and Heartaches, was produced by Marty and features his acclaimed band. Their on-stage chemistry is a visible extension of their love. Their 2010 duet, I Run to You, even earned them a Grammy nomination for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals, a testament to how beautifully their voices and lives intertwine. They continue to lift each other up, their love story a living, breathing, work in progress. If you love stories about the legends of country music and the incredible lives they've lived, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. For more deep dives into the heart of the genre, the love story of Marty Stuart and Connie Smith is more than just a country song. It's an epic about destiny, patience, and the kind of faith that can bridge decades. It's the story of an 11-year-old boy who saw his future on a festival stage, and the man he became who had the courage to make that future a reality. Their journey reminds us that the greatest love stories don't always follow the rules. They're built on quiet understanding, mutual respect, and an unshakable belief that some things are simply meant to be.